Hey everyone, I am Rupjit. Welcome to my channel. For your information, I have secured a total of 97% marks in my class 10 board examinations and a total of 94.2% of marks in my class 12 CBSE examinations. Now, today we are going to start with the chapter Life Processes, a chapter from biology of class 10. So, basically, what do we actually mean by this life processes? At first of all, we have to understand what is the meaning of biology. Since it is the first chapter of biology, we need to understand the meaning of biology. The word biology has two parts. The word biology has two parts. One is bio and another one is logy. The word bio means life and the word logy means study. Hence, biology refers to the study of various living organisms and life forms and the metabolic processes occurring in them. And the metabolic processes which are occurring in the various living organisms are known as life processes, about which we will be discussing in this chapter. So the first question which comes in our mind is that what basically do we mean by these life processes? As we have already discussed that biology is the study of living things. All the living things are called organisms. Both plants and animals are living organisms as we know. So in our NCERT book, 7 life processes are being discussed in a great detail. Now we are going to discuss these 7 life processes one by one shortly. Then we will be also discussing them in detail as we move ahead. Now, first and foremost thing, movement. It is also a life process. So movement, basically, it can be molecular movement. It can be molecular movement. Or it can be locomotion, that is locomotory movement. Locomotion means whenever the organism changes its place, it is known as locomotion. Whenever the organism changes its place, it is known as locomotion. Plants cannot perform locomotion because they do not have any locomotory organ. We human beings, we can perform locomotion because our locomotory organ is feet. We can go from one place to another, but plants, they cannot perform this locomotion because they do not have any locomotory organ. For example, amoeba, it can move from one place to another with the help of pseudopodia, that is false feet. Paramecium, it can move with the help of its cilia, which is the locomotory organ of paramecium. So basically most animals perform locomotion, but plants do not perform locomotion. There are also certain exceptions to the concept. I told most animals can perform locomotion. That is, there are also some animals which do not perform locomotion. For example, when we talk about these porifera or the sponges, they belong to kingdom Animalia. They are also animals, but they do not show locomotions. They do not show locomotion. They do not move from one place to another because they are sessile in nature. That is, they are attached to the substratum. The sponges, they are actually attached to a surface. That surface to which they are attached is known as the substratum. Substratum to which they are attached. Now, we will be reading the paragraph in a great detail to understand much more. Now, both the animals and plants have the ability to move. Remember, plants have the ability to move but not to show locomotion, because locomotion is a type of movement. All locomotion is movement, but all movement is not locomotion. This is because plants can grow. Growth is also a sort of movement which they are showing. Plants can grow. Their roots, the roots of plants move down into the soil. That is also a sort of movement only, na? Stems of the plants move up towards the light. This is the phototropic movement, about which you will be studying in the class 11. Phototropic movement. Animals move quickly. Yes, it is also true that animals, most animals, not all animals, understand, most animals can move quickly. They can move their entire bodies. They can move from one place to another, for example, in search of food, shelter, to avoid danger, and that is the locomotion. Moreover, when we eat any food, the food goes into our stomach, then intestines, then these are absorbed and transferred to the bloodstream, after which transportation of the nutrients takes place throughout our body. That is also a sort of movement, and that type of movement is called molecular movement. For example, carbon dioxide is transferred in our body in the form of carbaminohemoglobin, about which you will be studying in class 11th. Then oxygen is transferred in our body in the form of oxyhemoglobin. That is also a sort of movement. So these are known as molecular movements, which is not referred to as locomotion, because the entire organism is not moving now. Only the nutrient or the molecules or the various biomolecules are moving at that case. Now we are coming to our next life process, which is known as respiration. Now, respiration is the process of extraction of energy from the food we eat. Now, when we eat any food, it goes to what? It goes to our body. Specifically, it goes to our stomach and then intestines. Okay, so we are taking the example of stomach. From the stomach, again, the food is to be absorbed. The food is absorbed from the stomach. The food is absorbed and it goes to the blood. And from the blood, it is assimilated to various parts of the body. The food is assimilated to various parts of the body. Gradually, the food reaches the various cells, various body cells. The food reaches to the various body cells. And in the body cells, a reaction occurs known as respiration. Within the body cells, respiration of the biomolecules, the simpler biomolecules which are digested in the stomach, the simpler biomolecules are respired in the cell in the presence of oxygen. Most of the cases, oxygen is consumed in case of aerobic organisms. Now we will discuss about this respiration. In the cells, respiration takes place as we know. Food, for example, this carbohydrate. For example, carbohydrate is digested into simple glucose, which is a monosaccharide. That is, it is unimolecular. Okay, glucose, it reacts with this oxygen in our body cells, especially in mitochondria. Glucose reacts with oxygen to liberate energy. Side by side, carbon dioxide is also released as the byproduct along with a little amount of water. So this energy which we are getting through respiration, it is essential for maintaining the various life processes. This energy, it plays a vital role for maintenance of the various life processes which are occurring into our body. So a very, very important point, this respiration, it occurs in the mitochondria. It occurs in our mitochondria. In the human body, specifically, the respiration occurs in mitochondria. 100% important. MCQs, you will find MCQs in exam from this statement. Mitochondria is very, very important. This mitochondria, it is known as powerhouse of the cell. This mitochondria, it is known as powerhouse of the cell. This mitochondria, it is known as powerhouse of the cell, about which you have studied in your class 9th already in the chapter known as cell. Moreover, the term mitochondria was given by Benda, as we know. This person gave the name mitochondria, coined the term mitochondria. Now we are moving on to the next life process, which is known as sensitivity. Okay. Now what is basically sensitivity? All the living organisms are sensitive. That is, sensitivity refers to our ability to respond to External ability to respond to external stimuli is called sensitivity. Ability to respond to external stimuli. Stimuli refers to any external change. Any change. For example, taste, it is a stimuli. Smell, it is a stimuli. Heat, light, sound, touch, everything is stimuli. We can respond to these stimuli because we are sensitive. Living organisms show sensitivity because of the presence of nervous system. Now, animals. Most animals have nervous system, due to which they can respond to the external stimuli very quickly. Quick response to external stimuli is shown by the animals. But plants are also sensitive. Remember one thing, plants are also sensitive. However, it should be noted that plants do not have any nervous system of their own. Plants, they are also sensitive, but plants do not have any nervous system. Plants have certain hormones which make them sensitive. They show hormonal regulation. Hormones are also found in animals, but plants, they have only hormones, no nervous system. Hormonal regulation is found in the plants, which make them sensitive, but unfortunately it is very slow response. Hormonal regulation is very slow. As a result, the plants show response very slowly. So what kind of response are actually shown by the plants, that we have to understand in a great detail. Now, for example, this plant, a plant is here, and there is a window from which the sunlight is coming. From external environment, sunlight is coming. Then you will gradually find that with the passage of time, the plant will bend towards the sunlight. Gradually, the plant will have to bend towards the sunlight. So this is known as phototropic movement. Phototropic movement. That is, the plants always have the tendency to move towards the passage of the sunlight or the light. So this is called phototropic movement. It occurs due to hormonal regulation. It occurs very slowly, and it occurs due to hormonal regulation, specifically auxin. It occurs due to a certain hormone known as auxin. It occurs due to a specific hormone known as auxin. Due to hormonal regulation process, the response shown by the plants is comparatively slower. I think it's clear to you. Now we are moving on to our next life process, which is referred to as growth. Now, all the living organisms have to grow. Plants continue growing throughout their lives. Plants, they grow throughout their lives. There is no barrier to their growth. They are growing continuously. On the other hand, animals do not grow throughout their life. Animals stop growing once they reach adulthood. Plants can grow throughout their lives, but animals stop growing when they reach their adulthood. That is, there is a certain interval of time in which animals show growing, and after which animals stop to grow. But plants, on the other hand, perform growing throughout their lives. So this is one of the difference between plants and animals. Now, even when the growth stops, materials within an animal's body are still being replaced from its food. Even when the growth of the animal stops, respiration is also occurring. Other life processes are also occurring. Control and coordination is occurring. Respiration is occurring. Movements, molecular movements, excretion, these are also occurring. So, molecular movement or the various life processes are occurring every time to sustain the life. Now we are coming to the next life process, which is known as excretion. Now, all the living organisms make waste products which can be useful or harmful to it. Therefore, they want to get rid from it. Now, whenever we are performing, for example, our body is performing respiration, then certain metabolic waste, respiration produces certain toxic metabolic wastes which are very harmful for the body. So we need to get rid of those waste materials with the help of excretion occurs to throw out these harmful metabolic wastes from our body. Hence excretion is very, very important. It should be noted that plants also perform excretion. It should be noted that plants they also perform excretion. So you may be asking that how the plants perform excretion. Waste is removed when their leaves fall off. The leaves of the plants they fall off. In this way, the waste products are also liberated along with the leaves. Clear? In this way, it is the one way through which plants get rid of the waste materials. Now, there are certain things, for example, that rubber, then gums, tannins, which we get from the plants. These are the waste materials of plants. Do you know? These are the waste materials of plants. The rubber, these are used commercially. Rubber, gums, tannins, which then resins, which we get from the plants. These are basically waste materials of the plants, which the plant is actually liberating out from the body. But these are commercially important for us. Hence, we are taking them out and we are using it for our commercial activities. Moreover, in the food vacuole of plants, in the food vacuole of the plants, not actually food vacuole, in the vacuole, yes, in the vacuole of the plants, basically various vacuoles also have to get rid of various waste materials from the plant body. Now we will talk about how animals perform excretion. As we know, in our human body we have what? We have kidneys, which perform osmoregulation, that is maintenance of proper ionic and water concentration within our body. So animals breathe out waste carbon dioxide and other waste substances. For example, when we respire, we take in oxygen and we breathe out carbon dioxide because it is toxic. So that is also a sort of excretion. So we get rid of feces, that is undigested food, through the anus. It is basically not excretion, but it is known as egestion, which is a part of digestion. Basically, it is a common misconception made by various students. Getting rid of feces or undigested food from the stomach basically refers to egestion, which is a part of digestion. Basically, egestion, it is also known as defecation. Okay, it is also known as defecation. It is not excretion basically, but it is also a sort of removal of waste materials. Excretion in living organisms, basically when we talk about urine from our body is excreted. Urine contains certain urea, then ammonia sort of things, which needs to be excreted from our body, then certain ions. So this is referred to as excretion. However, removal of feces through the anus, it is not excretion but egestion. Remember this point. Now we are moving on to our next life process. It is known as reproduction. Basically, reproduction, it is not essential life process. Basically, we can also live if we do not reproduce, but it is not essential. At the same time, it is very, very important. Reproduction is very, very important. Reproduction is very, very important for perpetuation of species, for flourishing or the perpetuation of species. That is, the living organisms belonging to a particular species increase their number or maintain their existence on the earth by performing reproduction. Hence, it is very, very important. So as it is written over here, all living organisms must produce offspring. This process is known as what? Reproduction. For example, these plants, they produce new seeds. Plants produce new seeds to give rise to new plants of the same species. Also the animals also lay eggs or have babies. So these are, methods of reproduction. Some animals are laying eggs, this is known as oviparity. Some animals are oviparous, they lay eggs. Oviparity. All the members belonging to kingdom Arthropoda are oviparous. Certain mammals are also oviparous, such as anteater. These are oviparous animals. Some organisms give birth to young ones. They are known as viviparous animals. For example, human beings are viviparous. We are viviparous. Now, reproduction, this process of reproduction is of two types. The process of reproduction is of two types. One is sexual reproduction, another one is asexual reproduction. This one is sexual reproduction, another one is the asexual reproduction. Sexual reproduction is performed by two parents, and gametes are involved in sexual reproduction. Very, very important. In exam, there may be a question, differentiate between sexual and asexual reproduction. So what you will write? Sexual reproduction basically involves two parents and also gametes. Male gamete, namely male gamete, and female gamete. This female gamete, it is known as egg, and the male gamete, it is known as sperm. You will study broadly about sexual reproduction in your reproduction chapter. In class 12, we will study vastly about this reproduction, sexual reproduction in human beings basically. Now, asexual reproduction, where one parent, a single parent, can reproduce by itself, is referred to as the asexual reproduction. Single parent is involved, no gametes required. Moreover, there is another difference. You can write sexual reproduction. In sexual reproduction, there are huge variations in offsprings. About variations, we will be discussing in the chapter Heredity and Evolution in a great detail. So sexual reproduction involves huge variations, that is certain changes which come to the offsprings, because the genetic combination of the offspring or the baby is a combination of the maternal and parental, that is the paternal and maternal, this is fathers and mothers genes, genetic combinations, due to which variations occur in sexual reproduction. But on the asexual reproduction, in the asexual reproduction, very negligible variations took place. Very negligible variations take place. You can also write no variations take place, but preferably it is worth to say that negligible variations take place in asexual reproduction, because DNA replication will be occurring in the parent organism, and in DNA replication a very minute errors are also performed, or very minute errors are also taking place. As a result, very negligible variations which cannot be predicted, these very negligible variations are occurring in asexual reproduction. But in sexual reproduction, huge variations are occurring. That is also a point of difference. Is that clear? Now, we will talk about nutrition. Now, nutrition is needed for energy. So basically, what is nutrition? Nutrition is basically the process through which we take food, through which, for example, food, there is food. Now we are taking this food. This food is ingested in our body through the mouth. Ingestion occurs. Then what happens? Then digestion occurs. Digestion occurs in the stomach. Then what happens? Absorption occurs. Absorption of the digested food particles occurs. So maximum amount of absorption occurs in the small intestine basically. Then absorption of water also takes place in the large intestine. After absorption, what is there? There will be assimilation. Assimilation. Then in case of this assimilation, the various absorbed food particles are transported to each and every cell of the body with the help of this assimilation. Then after assimilation, what will happen? Each and every cell of the body will be getting our food. So the undigested food particle, now the food which is undigested, basically the food which is not digested, that will be removed with the help of digestion. So undigested food or the feces, also known as feces or the fecal matter, will be removed with the help of egestion through the anus. Egestion is also known as defecation, as we have as I have told you earlier. So this entire process which is occurring in the living organisms in our human body, basically this is our nutrition. Now plants, they use sunlight to turn simple molecules like carbon dioxide and water to more complex carbohydrate molecules. So this is known as photosynthesis. Plants perform photosynthesis to trap sunlight and convert the solar energy into chemical energy with the help of carbon dioxide and water, and they produce certain glucose. So that is the nutrition in case of plants. So we have briefly discussed each and every life processes, all the 7 life processes which are mentioned in our NCERT book. And if you have any doubt, do ask me in the comment section. So we have completed the first part, that is part 1 of life processes. In part 2, we will be discussing more about nutrition in a great detail. So thank you so much. Please like, share and subscribe to my channel for more updates. Thank you so much.